You know
Start
what?
right where you started.
I wonder if we actually caught that, because I don't
I don't
remember
think we
seeing
did.
the red light.
We didn't. Let's start with you're just talking what you just said, talking about intervals.
Yeah, we're talking about intervals, and it's just naming the distances between any two notes, and memorizing like the first two notes of a famous song is a good way to remember the sound of an interval in your head. But I wanted to say, by the way, if you took a major scale from do to do up to the octave, you will find every single interval within that scale. All right,
Okay.
so that every single interval is accounted for within a major scale up to the octave.
Okay.
Okay, just so you know.
Some of these are trickier than others, though. Yes.
Trickier in what way?
Vocally, maybe finding them.
Finding them, yeah, vocally. I'm not, as you know, like what I hear in my head and what translates to my vocal cords
Oh,
are two
yes,
different
it
things. So, unfortunately, I'm not a good singer, but I can hear intervals quite well. you
Yeah.
know.
No. I know you can. Yeah.
And so what we have here, what Steve brought me, is something called fretboard recipes, and this is interval designs. And what we're doing is going through each interval and listening to the sound of them through the beginning of some famous songs. So the first and smallest interval you can find is a minor second. That's a half step.
Okay.
That you'll find in the major scale from mi, fa, and ti, do are half steps.
Okay.
Okay, so they're all right. Yeah, okay, good. Ascending major seconds. So the first song is
Well, actually, ascending minors are first.
minor seconds. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, minor seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Ascending. So we're gonna do all this maybe in the key of C, so we have an easy reference.
Okay.
Now, bear in mind that an open string to the first fret is a minor second.
Okay.
All right, that's a half step. It's almost as if this is a fret right here.
Okay.
Any two adjacent frets are a minor second.
Right.
Okay. So, in the case of White Christmas, the melody starts on the E note, and we're in the key of C.
Dreaming of
And actually, the is a half step, but that's also a half step.
Okay.
All right.
There we go.
There's quite a few little half steps in there.
Okay.
All right.
Strawberry
Fields. Okay.
What's the vocal beginning, or what's the?
Let me take you down.
Let me take you down. Okay.
All right. Another Beatles song.
With a little help from my friends.
This is kind of. It's actually part of a bundle of a phrase, but so. All right. That's Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head.
Okay.
Now I'm noticing with every single one of these, it's kind of interesting because I'm in the key of C.
Right.
And it just turns out that every one of these melodies so far has started on an E note. And between E and F is the half step.
Right.
So, I don't know the melody to Caravan right off the head.
Is that the Van Morrison?
No, it's the old classic jazz.
Is it the old classic one? Okay. That's okay.
Stormy weather, don't know why. So,
Don't know why.
right.
It goes up to major then from the second note.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the only, Michelle is the only song that actually is not starting on the third of the C chord, but the fifth, and that's because it goes to an F minor. When it's in that context, it sounds a little more exotic, it sounds a little more like the Arabian sound,
Right.
and that might be a device for you to remember too,
Oh, okay.
that half-step sound.
Michelle, okay.
Okay.
Does that, I mean, as a rule, that can sound that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. When it's off the fifth like that, yeah.
Okay. Baby, you're a rich man.
You probably don't know that's a Beatles song.
Yeah,
It was a single.
Baby, you're a rich man.
Yeah.
Da-da.
And Jaws is... That's
Okay.
probably the best one to remember it by.
Okay.
It's just, you know. All right, so those are ascending minor seconds.
Right.
All right.
Just a second. I'm just making a note on Jaws that you said that's a good one. Okay. All right. Ascending major seconds.
America.
Oh, beautiful.
That's not a.
Huh.
That's not a major second.
That's not it.
No.
That right either.
Let's just move on to Happy Birthday.
Sure.
So now we're on a C chord, doing the fifth. All right.
Do, re, mi.
Is that the song? Do.
No, I have a feeling it's the Woody Guthrie. You ain't got the do, re, mi, boy.
Yeah.
You ain't got the do, re, mi.
All right. In my life, there are places I'll read. There
are. Okay.
I don't know why they're saying Addams Family, because that. Oh, I guess they're talking about that.
Okay.
And that's two major seconds in a row. Do, re, la, sol, la, di, do. And that's a half step at the end.
Okay.
Good one here is You Are the Sunshine of My Life. Notice how many Beatles songs come into these.
Yeah.
The Beatles have done everything. Norwegian Wood.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, it's me, Todd Rundgren. Hello, it's me.
I don't know that one well
Yeah,
enough.
ta da ta da ta da ta ta ta.
I think the best examples are the ones where the two notes hang and they're not part of a larger phrase.
Okay.
That would be like if we could, like I named it on the ascending minor second. Happy Birthday is a good one. Da 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 da.
Okay.
Because it comes back to the first note too. So.
Sure.
Eleanor Rubin. My Funny Valentine. Yeah, now let me ask you a question. The third note. Da 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 da. What interval is that?
That's a whole step, isn't it?
The first one is da da.
It's a half step.
It is a half step.
Yeah. Okay.
So la ti do.
So even though we're talking about an ascending major seconds here, right after that major, we're talking about a minor.
Well, in this case,
Or yeah,
in this
or a
particular
half step,
case,
right.
not always, but yeah,
Right.
sure.
Theme from oh, don't know them.
Here we come, walking down the street. Got the funny looks. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't.
Hey, with the monkeys. No, it's not that.
Because that's a descending major second.
And I'm a Believer, written by Neil Diamond.
Da-da, I thought love was only true in fairy tale.
I thought love was only... Yeah. I thought love... I'm going to mark that down for me. That seems to make sense for me. Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah. Da-da. All right, so that's the major seconds.
Okay.
Minor thirds. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you it when we get to it, actually. Minor thirds. Minor thirds could be tricky when you're in a major context. Hello, darling. Whatever it is.
Hello, hello, darling. Hello.
You know a good one to remember? You know, have you ever heard the song Spoonful? Cream did it.
Sure.
Minor thirds for me are among the easiest because it's the pentatonic scale starts with a minor third.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I've just got to make notes here. Hawaii 5-0, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
To dream the impossible. To dream.
Yeah. See, that's step and a half.
One and a half
third.
steps. Okay. The Carpenters, Close to You? Proud.
I don't know.
That
That is a minor third.
Why do birds?
Spoonful. Okay. Very often, by the way, like if you're listening to an entire phrase of music and you're trying to determine the interval, very often it's very hard to get that unless you isolate the interval and forget the melody for a second and just think of it as a separate entity. Because you could think of why do birds da 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 da, you know, right?
Right.
But like with the spoonful example, that's a pure dedicated minor third that repeats. So it's a good one to remember.
Okay.
And it's almost like when you pull it out of context like that, you could, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Another one is and the bridge to Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Okay, got it. Proud Mary?
Yeah, I don't get that one. Because it's really major second. That's not...
Okay.
I don't know why they're saying that one. I don't know On a Clear Day.
On a clear day, on a clear... Streisand is a big...
That's a major third.
Is it?
Yeah. Don't use that one.
On a clear day, on a... Yes? On a clear day.
That's a half step.
That's a half step. On a clear...
Clear day, that's a minor third. Spoonful, right?
Right? Okay.
UJ Way.
I can't get no satisfaction.
Oh yeah, right. I can't. I don't. Well, da da da. Yeah. That's a little too. I'm sure he hits a minor third in there, but that's a little confused. I wouldn't use that one.
Okay. A day in the life.
That's a good one.
I heard the. Okay. Light my fire.
That's a good one. Because it repeats it over and over again. Right?
Okay. Good.
Okay.
We're moving through here. Ascending major thirds. When the saints... Oh, when the saints... Oh, when...
I'm trying to find your key.
Oh, we'll do it in C, whatever.
Also, actually, do a deer, and that repeats a lot, so that's a good one.
Okay. On top of.
Da 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 da. Now, by the way I determine major thirds is when I isolate it. I go da da, and then I think of do re mi, and I think as if I'm on mi right now. Mi do mi re do re mi. So I count up in my mind.
Okay.
That's a way to develop the ability. Eventually, you could lose that middle note and just start to hear it.
Okay.
But that's the way I worked a lot. Was I'd fill in the middle notes in my mind, but sing the actual
interval.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's a good hint. See, we're learning stuff here.
I used to do this driving to college. I went to a commuter college, and I had a 45-minute drive, and I'd be going through intervals in my head, like do re mi fa sol la, all that stuff.
Okay.
I'll show you what I used to do later on.
Okay. To dream the impossible dream. To dream.
Wait, no, that's wrong. That's a minor third.
To dream.
No, I'd skip that one. That's a minor third.
Okay.
That's.
To dream. Oh, okay. Can't buy me love.
First two notes, can't buy me. Right.
Can't buy me.
Now, by the way, right there is a triad. Da 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 da.
Okay.
Do mi sol mi do mi sol mi do. I'll show you what my practice is a little later on.
Okay. Here, there, or no. Here, there.
Well, no, you're filling in the chord.
Okay, I am.
Here
and there. Here, there, and there.
Yeah, I wouldn't use that one because you're waiting too long to hear the interval.
Yeah, okay. Limbo Rock. Do you remember this? Who was this? Like Chubby Checker or somebody like that?
I don't even know.
Fats Domino?
Yeah, don't know.
Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da.
And again, that's a try. Da 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 da.
Okay, and Baby Elephant Walk. Da da. It's the Henry Mancini thing.
Yeah, how's that go? I know that song. Bum bum ba da 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 da. That thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just recap. Probably the easier ones would be when the Saints on top.
On top of All Smoky would be good.
Yeah. And da 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 Limbo Rock. And for me anyway, not bad. Ascending perfect fourths. Now, when we say perfect, what does this mean?
Perfect fourth. This is. I've always had a hard time explaining this perfect situation. See, like if I have a major third, right? How can I explain this? If I have a major third and I flat that high note, I get a minor third.
Okay.
Right? If I took a perfect fourth and flatted that note, I'd get a major third. It wouldn't be a fourth anymore. It'd lose the category of being a fourth.
So it's just is that a half step above?
It's a half step. And I think that's the reason, is because it's a half step. And if I raise the perfect fourth, we get what's called the tritone interval, which is not a fourth or a fifth.
And that interval is sing it.
Oh, that's the European sirens. That's a tritone, or an augmented fourth, or
augmented
fifth.
fourth. Okay, all right. All, go ahead.
What was the first song?
All Things On.
Reveille. Okay. Perfect fourth is pretty easy to remember, but you'll confuse it with a fifth, and I'll tell you why in a minute.
Okay. Amazing Grace.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
When Johnny comes marching home. When Johnny. Is that right?
Da, da, da.
Da, da. Well, that's a good one to
There's
remember.
There's the Mozart piece, Eine kleine Nachtmusik. Dun 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 dun. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay. Someday my prince will come.
Right.
All the things. Oh.
I don't know Exodus. I don't know Fiddler on the Roof either.
Where does Home on the Range fit in here? Home on the Range.
Forget that one.
Yeah,
I don't know why they put that one there.
Yeah, let's scratch it out. Man on a Flying...
You know, the Christmas songs are really good for remembering the Oh Christmas Tree, or On the First Day of Christmas, We Wish You a Merry Christmas. All those Christmas songs are really good for getting before.
Okay, all right. We'll star those.
Oh, Here Comes the Bride is good too. Here comes, right?
High the moon.
Yeah.
Goodbye Pork Pie Hat.
I don't know the melody of that offhand.
I don't either. Tequila.
And again, you hear the Mozart in there, right?
Right. He's a real... He's a real...
And by the way, on the guitar, except for between the G and B strings, the perfect fourth is on the same fret, going from one string to the next string.
Oh, okay. Again, just...
Yeah, if you want a close-up.
Sure.
Except for the G and B strings, which is a major third.
Right.
And as long as you know that, you could use that to practice major third.
Okay.
Right, but otherwise, between every other string is on the same fret is the perfect fourth. That's a perfect fourth. This is a perfect fourth. This is a perfect... Guitar is tuned in fourths. That's a fourth.
Okay.
You know, you can hear the Mozart note. So anytime you go like that, just bar,
right,
you get a perfect fourth. And by the way, the nature, you know, we've separated the intervals. Let's actually go back for a second, and we're going to hear the intervals ring together rather than separating them.
Okay.
As a harmony. So E to F is a dissonant interval. However, you could have a chord, let me see if I could build it. That doesn't mean it's dissonant inside the context of a chord. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
If I could find an example, that's here, right here is a C major 7. Now here's that's awful, but
it's fairly pleasing. Yeah.
In the context, it's nice and fluffy and cloudy actually, and the dissonance actually is very nice within context.
Yeah. Okay.
Context means everything in music.
Elemental little lessons from Mr. Vinny today. Here we go.
All right, now the major second is a little more bearable. Seconds in general you don't harmonize with in a chorus. Like you wouldn't do parallel seconds unless you're doing avant-garde music. So in other words, like I used to do this trick with lead guitar, and I'd do seconds. So there's a minor second. There's a major second. And to think of the sound of a major second harmony, not separating those but playing them together, you could think of chopstick.
Major second harmony, chopsticks. Okay. Bears repeating.
Okay. So just to reiterate, we're rolling back to our first intervals again to hear them together rather than separating them in time.
Okay.
Okay, so the minor third sounds like this, or... And I tell you, see how the difference, like, when we did that, all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, how would I be able to hear that? Back in college days, we did ear training classes where the teacher would stand up, do the intervals randomly. You know, we'd have to be able to hear them out of context.
Sure.
So what I do is I just do the little scale run in my head, you know, until I heard the interval fit in, you know.
Okay.
I go da 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 da. Oh, that's major second, minor second. That's a minor third.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
I learned to sing in my head in class, so I wouldn't be doing that out loud. But, you know. All right, so major third is major and minor thirds. By the way, if you were to harmonize the scale, the major scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, in thirds, what you'd get is a sequence of major and minor thirds.
Okay.
All right, and the point is they ring together. All right, it's a very natural harmony to sing. I remember when I was a kid, my family was very musical, and my cousins and my uncle would get together, and we'd sing Beatles songs and stuff like that. My cousins naturally harmonized very well, and they were singing those thirds, you know. Thirds.
Is this playable? Okay, here we go. Now you have done this exercise with country licks. With I mean, these are kind of standard little two-string harmonies.
Sure. The Van Morrison song, Brown Eyed Girl.
Oh. And And those are just simply thirds on the top two strings.
Yes, if you learn how to play thirds, you can harmonize. In fact, I was watching, you know, my thing for the Beatles. My friend Nancy came out with we often watch some Beatles video or the other, and we were watching like this one called Beatles Stories, and it was about people who met the Beatles and people who were just being interviewed. And there was this one guy who was in a Beatles tribute band, and George Martin came to his concert. Actually, it was a big deal for the guy, and he played John Lennon, I think. But in any case, the very end, as they're rolling credits, they're doing this moment where this guy, I don't know if you know this song, And Your Bird Can Sing, but it's got this beautiful dual guitar arabesque lead solo, which is virtually impossible to play unless you have another guitar player doing the harmony, because it's just too cumbersome. And this guy was demonstrating, he made mistakes, it was really cool, but he was demonstrating how he figured out the whole solo and could play it harmonized. And I have to say, I was really impressed. You know, it's like, oh, sorry. And he did the whole thing, you know, all harmonized, and it was just awesome. You know, I had thought about taking on that project myself, and I said, this is... It's kind of like trying to do a ballet dance with, you know, army boots on.
He had it very smooth, huh?
But that's harmonized in thirds, that melody. Whatever.
You're only playing the top two strings on this. How bollocksed up does this get when you have the B string and the string below that?
You have to learn, see, the guitar, you know, they talk about shapes and boxes and all like this. Guitar is a very visual instrument. On piano, you could see very clearly, there's no mistake about the distance of a major second. It's always like the distance of two keys apart. Right? So it's almost literally, physically, that distance. But watch this. Here's a minor second. Right? Well, that's pretty obvious, but what if I do it on two strings? I have this big stretch over here, and yet it's a teeny tiny interval. So it doesn't it seems counterintuitive. You know, in other words, why would I stretch my fingers to do a tiny little interval like that? Right? So the thing to learn is these distances on the neck of the guitar. And when you're dealing with harmonizing, all right, as in, you know, or, you know, the whole arabesque thing there, you will discover there are only two shapes to go up the entire scale.
Okay.
All right, but you have to learn those two shapes between the strings that are a fourth apart and also the strings that are a third apart.
Third apart, right.
All right. But luckily, you know, most of the strings are a fourth apart, so you'll always get those same two shapes as long as you're doing fourths.
Right.
So now, if I were to take, all right. Now I want you to watch the intervals. I'm only using two different shapes, either this shape or this shape. And why? Because everything is, like the intervals that are not perfect intervals are major and minor. So there's two different shapes for them.
Okay.
All right, now to do the same thing, this is on the G to B strings. But now on the strings that are a fourth distance, and now you see the shapes are different. This is my major third, this is my minor third.
Okay.
Where on the G to B strings, this is my major third and this is my minor third.
Okay.
Alright, the logic is that the B string is tuned down 1/2 step lower than all the other strings are to each other, so you have to raise it up. So where I get this shape for a minor third, right? On the B string, it gets truncated like this. That's my minor third there. Okay? And that's my major third. Okay?
But all the others sit in that other pocket of the fourth.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Alright, it's really, really great exercise to learn to do the intervals between two strings. Alright?
Now, do you find yourself using that a bit when you're playing?
Totally. I could do like what am I thinking? A major seventh, minor seventh interval, which is a big leap, but I can see it immediately. By the way, Star Trek. Or it's in an octave, I forget. But in any case, boom, like that. Why? Because when I was young, I was passionate about all this stuff, and I wanted to learn every single damn detail of music theory and apply it to
Be
the
able
guitar.
to put it on a fretboard.
And that's one of my great advantages of as a guitar player. A lot of guys that could play faster than me and all this other stuff, but when I sit down to play, they give me respect because they know that they can't jump through the hoops of different chord changes the way I can, you know. And they call me like the chord dictionary because I know all these chords and stuff like that. But to me, you know, I wish I could convey. I really wish I could convey to my students how I do it. You know, in other words, there must be some thing I do with my mind that makes it happen real quickly.
Yeah, you could have a very individualistic mindset and a skill set for picking up things too.
I'll tell you this much: you learn auditorily first, and physically on the neck of the guitar. But then, as soon as you get the physical down and the sound down, then it has to become visual. The very last step is to make it visual. And why? When you're dealing with sound waves, they're a lot slower. Light waves are really fast. Sound waves, you know, if they did a race, light would win, you know. So the thing is, thinking in visual images is a lot faster than thinking in sound.
Okay.
Okay? I mean, I could go with sound, like to get the third, major third, I'd have to go... Okay, but with visual, I just know I put my two fingers there, and boom, it's there. You know.
Okay.
So, all right.
You know, Vin, we should. You know, I think we need to carry the last part of this into the next lesson.
Okay, this actually is very good because we're at the turning point of the. What are they calling it? Let's see what they're calling it.
Well, we've got a jumble of things coming up here.
Yeah, the flatted fifth of the raised fourth. Okay, this is the exact center of the chromatic scale right here.
Okay.
And in fact, believe it or not, this is really wild to me. I think I might have mentioned this once before, but in esoteric traditions, especially Western, the chromatic scale, each one of those notes in the chromatic scale is assigned to a astrological sign.
Oh, is that right?
And Libra is the scale, the balance. Well, it turns out the note for Libra is F sharp. It splits the chromatic scale right in half.
I have my note. I'm a Libra.
You're a Libra, so balance, you know.
Well, all right. Well, yeah, just summing up, this has been good for me anyway. I've learned an awful lot of ways to look at intervals and also some tricks on guitar. I know Vinny doesn't like to call them that.
I will say this, I can't stress this enough. Interval study kicks ass. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
Two things that I think really changed my life on the guitar, aside from learning all the theory and stuff, was learning interval distances and ear training in general. Ear training, sight singing, all that stuff changed my life.
All right.
You know.
Well, good. So next week, or 2 weeks from now, we will do the last half
of this. If I remember, yeah.
Well, I'll leave it with you. There we are, yeah. Sometime I'll just randomly come by, yell out intervals out the outside window. All right, here we are. Okay. Bye.